Back on this Christmas morning, Inside Tennessee, Don Bosch, Susan Richardson-Williams, and my colleague John North. Hope you're having a great Christmas morning. We're talking about the year that was, 2022. Don Bosch, let's start with you. Your winner at the state level in 2022, politically speaking.
Well, I have two, and one of them sort of pains me, but Susan came out for the Democrats early. But I'm going to say the state winner is a state GOP caucus. They picked up one seat extra in the House on the state side, remained the same on the Senate. But my second winner is Gloria Johnson. Despite your efforts at trying to redistrict her out of existence, she won. She's like that penny that keeps turning up. So good on Gloria, but I have to say state GOP.
How about you, your winner at the state level?
Mine is Cameron Sexton, our speaker from Crossville, Tennessee. I think they did a good job on the redistricting, and they picked up 2 seats in the House. So his stock is very high. There's a lot of talk about him running for governor in 2026. So I think, and Cameron is smart. He's a very smart young man and a good leader, a really good speaker. So I'm going to put him up there.
As far as your picks, the predictions, spot on for both of you. You picked Gloria Johnson would be the politician of the year at state level 2022. She was in your mind. You picked Cameron Sexton.
Yep.
He was in your mind. Your read.
I think Cameron Sexton's going to be a guy to watch going forward. He is not somebody who makes dumb mistakes. He's not crazy like Glenn Cassida. He's
thankfully
he's thinking long term, so he's a good one to watch. Gloria improved her margin. She had the best turnout that she's ever had, and she's had some fights. That will be interesting to watch. She is one of the hardest working lawmakers in the legislature. There's no doubt about that.
Don, at the state level, your loser, politically speaking.
Congressman Jim Cooper. He was redistricted out of a job, and it was really unfortunate. Democrat. We now are down to 1 congressman in the entire state represented in Washington. That's Steve Cohen out of Memphis. Say what you will, there's still a significant portion of our state population that's Democrat, and it's unfortunate that they don't have much of a voice in Washington anymore. And he's been a good legislator. He's been moderate. He's been well liked. Even there's some Republicans that like Jim Cooper.
Susan?
My loser is, maybe some of you in this area know her, but her name is Morgan Ortagus. She was comms director for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, moved to Nashville, thought she was going to be the next congressman from the 5th District. She got endorsed by President Trump. Stock is great. She didn't even get to run because she hadn't lived in the state 3 years and hadn't voted in three Republican primaries. And so the state executive committee kicked her out. And she's an impressive woman. We'll hear more of her. But for this year, she was a loser.
Your prediction last year for the loser of 2022 was Jim Cooper.
Yeah.
You were on with that. Don agrees this year. And your loser of 2022 was going to be Governor Bill Lee, saying he was going to be 10 points lower.
Missed that by a point or two, but our party did not mount enough of a challenge, and I thought it would be closer than it was.
Well, let's stick with you, Don, on the issue of the year in 2022. What say you about this year?
I think this is one where Susan and I are very close. It really is the state of health care in Tennessee. And what I mean by that is certainly women's reproductive rights have been at the forefront, but health care for children, health care for the mentally ill, health care for low-income citizens. There's not an area, unless you are well off, that you can get effective, good health care in this state. And we are sadly lagging behind the country in providing for our state citizens in that regard.
Susan?
Well, mine was the Department of Children's Services, which is, in fact, a lot of what you were talking about. We've talked about that a good bit on the show, and there is a crisis among care for these children in foster homes and that kind of thing. So I think, and we're going to be seeing that for a while.
Sticking with our theme of revisiting your predictions, you predicted the lack of mandates through the pandemic would be a major issue this year. And Don Bosch, you predicted that the pro-life legislation would be a wedge issue as well as economic growth. John?
Well, no doubt that, the whole issue of women's reproductive health is going to be out there, was this year, will be. We've talked about this before. I kind of doubt anything's going to happen. There'll be any true progress. We'll see. DCS, that will be a main issue coming up in 23. It blew up this year, but the truth is it's been festering for many years. A lot of people have just been in denial or ignored it.
It's hard. We talked about on this broadcast, there is not a lot of easy fixes. There aren't a lot of easy fixes available in terms of that issue.
No, and they'll throw money at it. That's fine. That's great. But let's not anybody who's watching us or us folks sitting here be lulled into thinking that it gets fixed.
It certainly doesn't get fixed quickly. And so even throwing a lot of money at it, it's going to take time to build up the employees, the infrastructure, the pay, the training, the facilities. That can't happen overnight.
Just finding qualified people. It's a stressful job to work in that department, and I think it's going to take a long time to get
I bet there are cultural issues too.
I'm sure
and
there
you know
are.
how that is.
Right.
That is not simple. That's profound.
Right.
We are back on this Christmas morning in just a couple of minutes with the national 2022 political winners, losers, and the issue of this year. Back after this.